Apex 2011 now has an apodization feature that allows you to apodize emitting objects, grid sources, and emitting data. Apodization is a process in which you change the ray fluxes of a ray set according to their propagation direction or their position within a source. As an example of apodization in Apex, we will apodize the top portion of this die according to manufacturer's data. In order to do that, we simply highlight the surface or feature of interest, right mouse click, come down to Optical Properties, and in this particular case, we turn this into an emitting object. On the Optical Properties tab, we can clearly see that this face of the emitter is now an emitting object. In order to initialize the apodization feature, simply right mouse click on the emitter and choose the Apodize button. You will be presented with an apodization screen which allows you to apodize the ray sources according to direction cosine coordinates, position, or angular coordinates. You can use data or functions in order to apodize your sources. In this particular example, we're going to be apodizing a source using manufacturer's data. We first create a new apodization, and in this case, we're going to digitize the data. So we'll click on the Digitize button. We select an image, and in this particular case, we're going to be apodizing based on a Cree XRE apodization pattern. We'll choose the fixed interval, set the range over which we want to apodize our data. In this case, it'll run from -90 to 90 degrees in 5-degree intervals. Click Next. Next part of the digitization process is to calibrate the screen. So we drag a box across the screen, indicating the area of digitization, and then we will now set the maximum and minimum extents of that calibration box. We are now free to drag each one of these points to the curve in order to digitize the data and use that for apodization. However, Apex has a very nice feature which will allow us to auto-digitize this curve. Press the Auto button, and then highlight the curve of interest, and the digitized points are dragged immediately to the curve. We now get the data, and this data is automatically loaded into a table. You could actually edit this table or create this table yourself if you choose to. We will give our apodization data source a name. In this case, we'll just call it Cree Apodize Data. Click OK. Click OK again, and the apodization function is added to our emitting source. We'll now save the data, or save the part file, and then we will turn this part file into an assembly. Now this particular assembly file is available for us to analyze the source or incorporate with other types of analyses. We will now examine some of the ray statistics of the surface by highlighting the emitting surface of interest and clicking on the All Statistics button. The statistical information printed out in this summary statistics shows the total flux associated with the total number of rays, as well as positional and directional information regarding the source emission properties. We can now turn our attention to calculating the intensity distribution of this particular source. We once again highlight the source itself. We will look at the distribution in direction cosine space as well as convert it to angle space. Click the OK button, and we let Apex compute the intensity pattern off of this particular emitting object. Apex computes the intensity pattern for about 10 million rays, a number commonly associated with these types of illumination analyses. As you can clearly see, the intensity pattern of our resulting emitting object very closely matches the intensity pattern of the manufacturer's dataset. If you're interested in a different apodization pattern, changing the apodization pattern is as simple as pointing and clicking. In this case, we can edit or remove the apodization pattern. And for example, if we wanted to apodize according to a particular function, we can select that function name, from some which are predefined within Apex's database, or those which you can actually create yourself. In this particular case, we will calculate a Gaussian distribution, and this particular screen shows you how you would edit that particular function to create your own apodization patterns. We then follow the workflow procedure, click OK. We now have a new apodization pattern assigned to our emitting object, which we can then again go back and recalculate the intensity pattern. And once again, here is displayed the Gaussian intensity distribution pattern associated with that particular apodization. The apodization feature in Apex is one of the many new exciting features in Apex 2011, which are designed to make your optical analysis and design lives easier through innovation.